Okay. Because of all that lighting, I look pale as shit. Even though I am pale as shit. Chairs making noise. Dogs at the door pissed off because they can't be let in. Hair looks good. For the record, James Gunn stole my look, so take him to court over that eventually. Let's do this. Greetings everybody, Joe Lawson here for anybody who cares, the only member of Apartment B1 Productions. Basically what this is, I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I don't really do videos anymore, but I've had the idea because I'm working on my newest film, which is called In Place of My Thumb, and it's actually going to be the last film in what is now a trilogy because I've made 2 other films, and they mean something to me because basically the 2 films I've made, the first one being The End, and then A Conversation with Myself, they do connect in a way because they're about me and where I was in my life at that time. And In Place of My Thumb is actually a sequel, but more of a prequel. It's a prequel, sequel, sequel, prequel, whatever, and it's gonna finish out this story of basically me to 33 years old. The reason why I'm doing this video is to maybe hype up the movie a little bit and get myself excited for it. I'm still working on the script, and I was hoping to begin shooting by now, and I really haven't done that. I shot some stuff thanks to a friend of mine, thank you Jake, a couple months ago, and I'm gonna shoot the rest here at my house, but it just hasn't really happened yet. It's just been kind of difficult to find that passion and that drive, because I do want to, this is what I want to do, and it's, I don't know, there's just something that's making me avoid it, and I'm not quite sure what that is. So the reason why I'm bringing this up isn't to be sad, it's to remind myself, maybe, hopefully, and also get the story out about my 2 other movies and this new one coming up, because I'm very excited for it, and it is going to get made, and I'm being very particular about it and very picky about the script. But this movie really means a lot to me because it is closing out a part of my life, the first 33 years of my life, but I also want it to be entertaining, and I want it to be different, and I want people to look at me differently as a filmmaker. So I just want to talk about the first 2 movies, kind of what they were about. You can go see them. They're on my YouTube channel at Apartment B1 Productions. Also the trailers for both movies, because I just released finally a trailer for my first movie because I never did that. And then I'll talk about what the 3rd movie is going to be about, but I'm not going to spoil it. So anyway, let me talk about my first movie, The End. Okay, The End I was 28 years old. Almost 29, it doesn't matter. And my life was really changing because throughout the most of my 20s, I was a YouTuber. I was like, what isn't being done on YouTube? You know, I love movies, but everyone's doing movie reviews. I do love video games, but I don't think I'm really one to review them. And what else do I love? Professional wrestling. So I came up with The Wrestling Fan. And the catchphrase, I may not be the best wrestling fan, but I am the finest. And I wore my little super bad beanie because I had long hair at the time. I did it for almost 4 years straight. And it was like three and a half years. And did videos every single month, and I got better. The Wrestling Fan was my film school. That's basically how I look at it now. I learned how to be a better actor, but more importantly, I learned how to be a better camera operator, a better director, a better writer, which is the most important thing to me. That's my #1 love is writing, a better producer, a better editor. I never learned how to edit, and The Wrestling Fan taught me how to edit. But then one day I woke up and my YouTube page was shut down. It was towards the end of 2013, maybe November. It was before Christmas, so Merry Christmas. It was shut down by WWE. I got 3 big copyright claims and I was out. And a little over 2,000 subscribers I lost. And it's not a lot, but I earned every single one of those subscribers. And I had some pretty diehard loyal fans who gave me a lot of views and a lot of comments and feedback and a lot of love. And I lost them. And so I kept putting up videos on Blip, but I was just like, I guess it's time. I was kind of already falling out of love with being a YouTuber. It hadn't really gotten me anywhere, so I wanted to bring it to an end. And then later that year, I was just in a really bad place. I was miserable at my retail job. I'd been there for over 10 years, and it wasn't going anywhere, and my relationship at the time was falling apart, and eventually we broke up. I was in school, but I dropped out because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do filmmaking and do what the hell I want to do. That's a big thing with me. It's like, I want to do what I want to do. And I don't like people telling me that I can't, unless there's a good reason. And it's just like, you wanted to be a goddamn filmmaker, be a goddamn filmmaker. You've got better equipment now. It may not be the best, but just make a fucking film. But about what? I need a finale for my The Wrestling Fan show. And I thought it would be clever, even though, yes, it has been done before, several times, where the creator talks to its creation. I send the wrestling fan on a little adventure. His wrestling DVD collection has been stolen. A lot of people would ask, they still ask me, like, why did you stop doing the wrestling fan? It's like, you obviously didn't see the movie. And it ended up being like 50 minutes. It was very self-indulgent, but it was cathartic, and it was therapeutic, and it was me saying goodbye to that part of my life of being a YouTuber. That's really what it was about, was saying goodbye to The Wrestling Fan, but also kind of my 20s in a way, and saying goodbye to YouTube and that dream of becoming a big-time YouTuber. I wanted to be a filmmaker. And I'm still very proud of that movie, because a lot of people seem to be entertained by it, they enjoyed it, and I actually got into a film festival, which, funny story, out of the 4, I got into 1. And it was great. You know, I've got the laurel for it. I can put on the end poster, which I need to make one. But it's like, I don't know if the festival ever took place because I couldn't get a hold of them. I asked them about it. And it was a real film festival. It was supposed to, like, show movies and stuff. And I tried to email them a bunch of times, and now, like, their website shut down. So I don't know. But I got the laurel. So The End actually got into a film festival, so I'll take that as a win. But that is my first movie, The End. About the end of The Wrestling Fan, and the end of that part of my 20s, that YouTube dream, and rediscovering my passion for filmmaking. Which, yes, on a side note, if anybody knows, that wasn't the end for The Wrestling Fan. I was out of a job for about 7 months, and during that time I did the alternate ending to The End, and I did a lot more YouTube videos for The Wrestling Fan. So the series did continue, and that eventually did have a finale for that, but like I said, I'm so very proud of it, and it'll always be my first movie, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I was like, okay, I made that, but I need to make a movie that... How do I explain it? I need to make a movie that appeals to more people. And I did enjoy the idea of... because The End was just based in my apartment. I wanted to kind of do that again. It wasn't like a remake, it's just I wanted to kind of redo it with a different idea. So that's what I did. And that's where the idea for a conversation with myself came. Because I thought, it's just an idea popped in my head. It's like, well, what could I do? It'd be in the apartment again, so I wouldn't have to pay for locations or anything. And I decided to do like, well, you just turned 30. And at 20 is when you started to really fall in love with filmmaking and writing a script and doing YouTube stuff and everything, and it's like, that's interesting. And I was still in the same apartment in the same town I grew up in, with the same dreams, and nothing had really changed. And it wasn't like I was taking a giant shit on my life, it's just, that was the reality, and that could make for an interesting story. And again, it was cathartic, it was therapeutic. Conversation with Myself is about me at 30 being able to have a conversation with my 20-year-old self, and the 20-year-old is just pissed off that none of their dreams have come true. He learns about people's deaths, you know, and it was true stuff. It was me kind of really saying goodbye to my 20s. But writing the movie, I didn't really know where it was gonna go. While I was writing the script, it went in a direction I'm glad it went, and I'm so proud of that movie. I entered a crap ton of film festivals because I got a lot of praise for it from people who know me and from some people online. And I got into like 10 film festivals out of like 40, you know, because that's what you got to do. But the biggest moment was I got into, there's a con here in Indianapolis, Indiana called Gen Con, one of the biggest in the world. And I got into their film festival. And that's what that movie, after a year of hard work, writing it and making it and editing it, that's what that movie gave me. It gave me the gift of going to a real film festival. I'm in the Gen Con book that thousands of people had in the film festival section. You know, my movie, Conversation with Myself, I'm right there. I got to sit with my parents, and my sister flew in from where she lives, and my girlfriend was there, and it wasn't like a ton of people in the room, but there was maybe not even 10 other people in the room, probably not even that, maybe 8 other people. But the gift this movie gave me, and really showed me that I'm on the right road with filmmaking or just trying to entertain people and all this stuff, was at the very end, a gentleman on the other side of the room, the movie ends, and he goes, "Yeah!" and starts clapping, and it wasn't like a sarcastic, like, yeah. It was like a true, and then everyone else clapped, and the clapping kept going for like 20 seconds or something, and you know, of course my family, they're clapping and crying, and I started crying because I had dreamt of a moment like that. Maybe it wasn't a huge film festival or like on a big screen in a theater, but it was a step in the right direction. I did it. But I also knew like this can't be as high as I want to go. So that was the high point of that, and I'm very proud of that movie. And I did not expect this to be like a trilogy, but it's also a movie, it can stand by I wanted the movie to stand by itself. You don't need to watch the other 2 movies or anything, or even know about them, even though they're kind of mentioned in the movie. But I wanted them all to connect, and I wanted callbacks to the other 2 movies, because I am proud of them. But in place of my thumb, without ruining too much, it's basically, the movie begins about one of the worst nights of my life. And how it made me remember a moment in my life at the age of 5 that would end up changing my life forever. And the movie is about change. Originally the movie I thought was going to be about distractions, because I'm easily distracted. I've got a billion distractions around me all the time, which I shouldn't. But as I've been writing the script, I'm like, holy shit, this is about change. And change is something that I've always kind of feared. I've wanted change, but I've also feared it. I was like, that's perfect. And a big change happened in my life a few months ago. And it's just like, this is almost serendipitous. Like, this has to be included in the movie. And that's kind of why it's been taking longer, because the script for the movie has evolved to so many different things. And now I'm happy with where it's at. When I go back to when I'm 5 years old, I kind of go to like this white space, this safe space, and I'm gonna play myself at 5 and at like, 10 as a teenager. The 20-year-old comes back from Conversation, which I'm happy about, but he's not in it a super lot. I play myself, of course, at 30, 33, but I also get to play my parents and my sister and other characters, my grandfather, my papa. It goes through all of this stuff in my life to the present. So it's a prequel because when all that stuff ends, it's kind of like where the end begins. Because the bad thing that happened to me in my early 20s at 24 was really the catalyst for me becoming a YouTuber and really go after filmmaking. And I do think people can relate to this one the most. And if you're gonna see one movie I'm gonna make, I think it would be this one. And I think this is the movie, which is why I'm being so hard on myself with the script and how I'm gonna shoot it. And I've been so meticulous and careful because I want it to be the movie that gets me the attention I want. But it's the last in the Apartment trilogy, and I'm hoping to have it done by fall. At least the end of summer, but if not, then fall. I know I'm making the right movie. You just feel it in your gut. I think when you're a filmmaker, when you're creative, when you're working on a project, and you know it's the right project. And I felt that way with all 3 of these movies. This has been, I've been to actual therapy, but this has been my real therapy. And me figuring out who I am, and another theme of these movies, and what I want out of life. So that's what In Place of My Thumb will be. That's what the Apartment trilogy is. And it's been fun just to kind of talk about it and get my story out there, and I don't think I've ruined too much of the movies. But please, go watch the end. Go watch A Conversation with Myself. Or at least watch the trailers. Maybe they'll interest you. It's on my YouTube channel, Apartment B1 Productions. This has been my filmmaking journey. I graduated high school barely, not knowing at all what I wanted out of life. I had no clue. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I didn't want to go to college and waste my parents' money and my time when I knew I would probably just flunk out. But I didn't know, I didn't have a plan. And I've always been bad at planning. But once I discovered writing, and it saved me. And I feel like I owe it somehow. Like I owe it to myself, and I don't know, I feel like I owe a debt that I can never repay, because if it wasn't for writing and it wasn't for filmmaking, if it wasn't for YouTubing, I would not have had a purpose in life. And that would have destroyed me. And I may have gone down a dark road, or many dark roads, if it wasn't for this. This gave me a dream. And it's something that I needed. And I'm not just doing it for that reason. I do love it. And I love performing. I love to create. And that's kind of why I want to do this video, to get my story out there. This has been my filmmaking journey. I just want to live my dream. Like, I don't care. I don't care about being famous. I'd like to be known. I want people to enjoy my work. I don't care about being rich. Yeah, money's great. I don't give a shit. I just want to do what I want to do. And I just want to enjoy life and create and entertain people if I can. And hopefully you've been entertained by this video a little bit. Hopefully it's maybe made you interested in my work if you weren't before. And for those of you who have been watching my stuff for years and have kind of stuck with me even when I went forever without uploading anything, because I don't really upload stuff anymore, thank you very much. And I look forward to this movie being made, and hopefully people like it, and hopefully it does exactly what I want it to do. So thank you very much, and I'll have stuff for you guys soon. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think that went well. Oh, shit. Quiet on the set.